Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first meeting of January 2023. If anyone needs any hearing devices, please raise your hand and we'll get you some. Would you like a hearing device?
I know.
Donna? Matt? Yes,
You have one, Mayor? Or do you need one?
No, I think I can hear. If I can't, I'll let you know.
oh, okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you, Eric.
Let's do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. John, can you do a roll call, please?
Yes, I will.
I can just go.
Councilmember Bode,
Here.
Councilmember Sherman. Here. Councilmember Gutierrez,
Here.
Mayor Nesco,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schmidt,
Here.
Councilmember McDowell,
Present.
and Councilmember Peterson.
Here.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Does the council have any late changes to the agenda? City
No.
manager?
No.
No, all right. The council have any board reports to share? Nope. I'd like to make an announcement that the council conducted a performance review of our city manager in early December. We found that our manager achieved his goals set for him in 2022, and the council has approved a 2.5% raise for 2023. And also a bonus accordance to his terms of his contract. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Has everyone reviewed the items on the consent agenda? We have a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as published. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. At this time, members of the public are invited to make public comment on any topic that's not listed on the agenda. Don, do we have anyone interested in public comment tonight?
Yes, we do, Mr. Mayor. Our first person is Athena Ayers.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I won't take up too much of your time. I appreciate being here. I just wanted to publicly demonstrate my gratitude for each of you and the support that Community Lifeline received in an effort to increase our capacity. We have been able to do that. We have been at full capacity or very close to since that support came through. So I just wanted to share that with you. And just thank you. Each of you contribute immensely to your community and probably don't hear it often enough that we need you guys and you guys do amazing work. And I value the ability to work with all of you and contribute to our community as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Athena.
Next, we have Dean Jewett.
Happy New Year. Just want to have a conversation on a few things that I've noticed as of late, kind of my status report for you, if you haven't already seen it, walking or driving through town. Noticed quite a few tents popping up in landscaping areas. Apparently there was an individual that wasn't real happy about what I posted on Facebook about a tent being at Key Bank. Had to go into Key Bank and have a conversation with them about the tent that was in their landscaping, been there for multiple days. We have chain link that's had to be put up by the Bank of America building because there was damage that was caused to that building. We've got Safeway having to take down landscaping so that we can keep people out from behind there causing issues. People are having to put up security systems and cameras, lock up their dumpsters. These are all at a cost to a business that's already Washington State is one of the hardest places to do business in with the taxes and the atmosphere that we have to deal with. And now we have to deal with on top of that. And obviously that's caused from lack of enforcement. We have unsafe vehicles that have been reported numerous times, overloaded, highly unloaded and overloaded, completely unsafe. I have no idea what liability is going to be on the city if something happens to that, because I guarantee you that if there's somebody that needs some information, they'll get that information from me and or even a public request act of all the pictures that I've been turned in to the app. We've got unlicensed RVs that are known to hang out in parking lots for umpteen time. Now, can the city go into a private parking lot? Nobody's going to answer me, but no. So what do? The city then contacts the owner of that property and has a conversation in that direction. We've got an RV that's been sitting on First Street for over a month. We've got another one that's sitting up in the Walmart parking lot right now that's very unsafe. We've got graffiti that I had to call in. We had to have some officers come down and handle that. But here's some code that I want you guys to take a look at. 8.08.030 deals with the graffiti. We got garbage, 8.08.40. Don't worry, I'll email these for you as well. We've got an ordinance on public defecation. You should take a look at that one. 9.2.0.020. So there's quite a few here. I don't have time to get into each and every one of them, but I'll send an email so that you guys can take a look at them. Very easy to find, very easy to read, very direct on what it says. So I scratch my head and I just wonder, what are we doing? So we just got to pick and choose based off of weather on what we enforce and what we don't enforce. Thank you.
Next is Jackie Jewett.
Good evening. So I'm going to do what I do best, and I like to relate things to my school, experience. So within a school district, that's a community. Within that school district, there's a lot of communities, right? So you have different schools and so on. In my classroom, I have a classroom community, and that classroom community consists of 22 adorable second graders right now. So 1 year ago today, I started a new job at a new school. I signed a contract. I was hired to do that job. I'm paid money to do that job. And I love that job, actually. So I'm good at it. So there are things that I need to do. One of the most important things, one of the most important jobs that I have as a teacher is to make sure that my kids feel safe in a safe learning environment. That is my number one thing. So with that being said, if I had one or two of those little second graders that were just creating havoc, they were just being mean to other kids, they were bullying, maybe they were yelling across the room, maybe they're throwing things, maybe they're running, whatever they're doing, but they're creating havoc. So then I have several of those students come up to me and say, Mrs. Jewett, so-and-so, okay. My reaction is like, okay, thank you for letting me know. So I don't really do anything at that point with these two kids. So then next thing you know, I'm starting to get phone calls from parents. And parents are like, my child said, and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? Again, I decide, maybe the problem's not big enough for me to take care of. So eventually that problem grows. And now I have several students that are just creating havoc, creating this unsafe environment. So I don't have to tell the kids, listen, I don't care about your concerns or issues. I just don't care. My actions speak to that. My community members are talking to me and I'm not reacting to that. So next thing you know, I just got all this chaos and havoc, and it's not going to get any better. And then it's going to be more difficult to pull it into control, because then I've got my administrators, my counselors, my superintendent. They're all trying to, what is going on at Jewett's class? It is unsafe. I feel unsafe coming into Shelton's community. I have several parents out there in Matlock that feel unsafe coming into Shelton downtown. Community members are speaking out, and we want some action, because now it's blown up and it's getting worse and worse and worse. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have one on Zoom, and that is Colleen Carmichael.
Good evening. My name is Colleen Carmichael. I'm the Executive Director of Quixote Communities. In an article in December 2022, The Atlantic discussed the obvious answers to homelessness, as the data and research around it have shown that homelessness is a housing problem. If poverty was the main driver of homelessness, then places with higher poverty rates would also have higher homelessness rates. Data has shown that urban areas with very high rates of poverty have the lowest rates of homelessness, and places with relatively low poverty rates have relatively high rates of homelessness. If mental health or drug abuse were the main drivers of homelessness, then places with higher rates of these problems would see higher rates of homelessness. Research proves that this is not true. In fact, in places with the highest rates of mental illness, they do not have a high rate of homelessness because they have affordable housing options. If warmer weather were the main driver of homelessness, then all warm weather places would have higher rates of homelessness than colder climates. Once again, research proves this is not true. Colder climates have the same numbers of homelessness as warmer climates do. If welfare recipients were the driving force of homelessness, then we would see less homelessness in areas with lower welfare recipients. The opposite has been found to be true. Research data shows that there is no relationship between the two. In fact, social welfare programs reduce homelessness. Research shows the homeless crisis cannot be explained by disproportionate levels of drug use, mental illness, or poverty. Rather, the most relevant factor in homelessness crisis are rent prices and vacancy rates. Homelessness is abundant only in areas with robust labor markets and low rates of unemployment. Why? The infrastructure that seeks to attract quality workers without providing adequate housing to meet the needs of these workers will create rising house prices and rents, and therefore create skyrocketing homelessness. Opposition to development in the form of height limits, density restrictions, design review boards, mandatory community input, and other veto points have resulted in the United States being millions of homes short of what the population needs. The worst harm falls on people who find themselves without housing. Nextdoor posts, tweets, Facebook, and other social media outlets are filled with comments about how the homeless are responsible for community disorder, lack of public safety, and reduced quality of life. The solution is not more police, stricter laws, or more jails. If you're looking for a solution to homelessness, you should be pressing your elected officials to build more affordable housing. If not, the problem will continue to grow along with your frustrations. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has not signed up to speak, would like to speak? Okay.
Mr. Jewett,
Would
you were on the committee. We had a.
Mary, please state your name and address us.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Mary Eagleson here. We had a committee and we worked on homelessness and we were trying to find solutions. But as the young lady just stated on Zoom, I hear people get up here. I hear people in town. I see it. People who have never been homeless have no idea, first of all, what it's like. So, you know, you have to have a little bit of sympathy because you just can't go out and get an apartment if you can't get a job. If you don't have an address, you don't have a car, you're not going to get jobs. We're not the only community. You make it sound like Shelton is such a bad place. And you drive around in Olympia, Tacoma, Seattle, Los Angeles, San Diego, every place is going through the same thing. And it isn't a city problem. It's a government problem. The government made this happen. We have so many people, there's no place for them, rents go higher, people can't get jobs. You're going to have people on the street until the government comes in and says, we got to make some changes so that people can get into places. But it's not just a city thing. It can't blame the city. You can't blame city council for not doing enough. You have to write to the people that make the big decisions. It isn't just us. Shelton isn't a bad place to live. Yeah, there's homeless people. There's homeless people everywhere you go. So don't make Shelton sound so bad. And if you keep telling people that it's a bad place, they're gonna believe you, they're gonna think it's a bad place. But it's not. And we just have to find solutions instead of finding all the problems. That's how I feel about it. That's it.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak that has not spoken? All right, moving on to our business agenda. Finance Director Mike Diddens has information for us about updating the master fee schedule.
Good evening, Mayor and Deputy Mayor and members of council. We're bringing to you for your first view tonight, the 2023 master fee schedule. Just a couple of things to point out. I included the submissions by department directors with underlined new parts and then line through changes where fees are changing. As a reminder, some of the rates are part of Shelton Municipal Code. So for water, sewer, those are set via that. But this document brings everything else into one schedule. It would go into effect February 1st. Should you act on it at your next business meeting. We did also include or made sure to include over the sections where the technology fee and credit card processing fee would be applicable so that that's very clear in this year's document. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Donna, do we have any public comment?
No, we don't, Mr. Mayor.
And do we have a motion?
I move that we forward resolution number 1253-1122 to the action agenda on the January 17th council meeting for further consideration.
Second.
All right, comments or questions from Mike? No? We have a motion and a second to forward resolution 1253-1122 to the action agenda, January 17th, council meeting for further consideration. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Now, city engineer Ken Gill has information for us about the local road safety project.
Happy New Year, Council. It's good to see your smiling faces. So back in September, Shelton was awarded about $1.3 million as a result of your local road safety plan action. So this is the first step in tonight into making those projects a reality. There's a air photo kind of schematic in your packet of the 3 projects. Max was nice enough to put the one up there on at 3rd Street and Railroad Avenue. So the first step in this process is to sign a local project administration agreement with WashDOT. And those are the 14 items that Shelton has to jump through to make these funds real and construct these projects. You have signed a similar document for your state funded Safe Routes to School project and your federally funded Brockdale surfacing project. That's all I prepared. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I recommend you move this on to your next agenda on the 17th.
Right, Donna, do we have any public comment?
No, we don't, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have a motion?
Move to put resolution number 1254-1222, local road safety plan project onto the action agenda on January 17th.
All right, comments or questions?
Question.
Yes.
I think I caught, but these are all 2023 projects? Or do these projects extend past 23?
They will, as part of your packet is the award letter from WashDOT, and construction is not complete until June 2025.
25.
Any more comments or questions? Thank you, Ken. We have a motion and a second to place resolution number 1254-1222 on the action agenda for January 17th council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, oh, Ken is up again. Our next item is project award for resurfacing improvements on Brockdale Road. Ken has details.
So Shelton was blessed. We received some federal funding from Mason County and some of $278,000. And it's to resurface Brockdale Road from its intersection with the Johns Prairie and Batstone Cutoff. So 6 bids were received. The lows received from around 246,000 to 546. So your public bid process was really at work. Thank you for Donna for helping me open bids. This is a federally funded project and we had to get approval from WashDOT to award it. They, John Ho, the local project engineer, has given us that permission to award it. This project was in your budget, but inflation has increased the price of asphalt. So to pay for the construction management and a 10% contingency, I proposed to use some of the funding that staff had proposed for Olympic Highway North in 2023. So a little bit of background on that. Staff applied for a grant from TIB to rebuild Olympic Highway North from C Street all the way out to Wallaceno to Walmart. We didn't get it this year. And the feedback that we got from TIB was spend your Railroad Avenue money and apply again in 2023. So those funds won't be used. I propose to use about half of them to pay for Brockdale. Even with using those funds, the funding for Brockdale is a 13.5% match. Note that your funding, your bid amount was below your funding, your grant amount. So we still have got a little bit of cushion in there for the construction management and contingency. This is the best way, in my opinion, to leverage your TBD funds and your city funds, because if you do the math on the last table in the back of a napkin, you're getting it, you're putting in about half of the cost that it takes to complete the entire project. I don't have any other comments on this, but I recommend you award this at your your January 17th council meeting.
You just wish it was July.
We'll be paving in July. I'm thinking about paving projects. So
Donna, anyone side of a public comment?
No, we don't, Mr. Mayor.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move to place resolution number 1255-1222 on the action agenda of January 17th council meeting.
Second.
All right, comments or questions?
When are we planning to pay?
the earliest I can do it is in March when the
So
pavement. Yeah, so I'm hoping if we get some great weather in March or April, with this in place, we can have a contractor under contract and do that work.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. All right, any more comments, questions? We have a motion and a second to place resolution number 1255-1222 on the action agenda. Did I skip one?
No, that's right.
Oh, 1222 on the action agenda for January 17th. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. It's Ken again.
Okay, in front of you again is another item associated with Brockdale. I mentioned the federal funding, with it comes strings. We've got to do things like wage rate interviews, make sure that asphalt meets all the specs. And it requires that we hire the design consultant to do that for us. So RH2 did the design. They've got it approved, got us all the way through bidding, and they're also going to get us all the way through construction. Whenever you have a federally funded project, at the end, you have an audit. You want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. So this does that for us. And as part of the project, again, the money will be done by a supplement like I described to you guys before. And that's all I have to present.
All right. Any public comment, Donna?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I move to place resolution number 1256-1222 on the action agenda for the January 17th council meeting.
Second.
All right. Comments or questions?
Ken, I just want to say, thanks for putting this all together and making our money work harder. Right, and putting everything in the right place. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We have a motion in a second to place resolution number 1256-1222 on the action agenda for January 17th council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Ken's off and Chief Peason is on. Chief Peason has information for us about the Mason County Jail Service Contract.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and members of council. As promised, now that we have the Nisqually Jail contract completed, I'm here to talk to you about changing our contract with the Mason County Sheriff's Office. As you know, currently we pay for 7 guaranteed beds at their facility that are sometimes challenging for us to use based on their booking restrictions and the requirement that 5 of those beds be limited to people that only have city charges that they're facing at that time. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been meeting with the sheriff's department. Instead of having those 7 guaranteed beds as we have been paying for, that we can't necessarily always use, we are negotiating for a per diem contract that's going to be very similar to the one that we have with Nisqually. The similarities include we'll pay 130 per person, but we only pay for people that are in custody. Part of this contract also covers that anything that is a mandatory arrest can still be booked into Mason County Jail. We'll just pay the rate for those if it's city charges. Anything that meets their booking restrictions, which would be felony arrests, currently just A and B felonies, and they're starting to add some C felonies to that as well. But those felony charges, we would not pay for those. Those would be paid for by the county because it would go to their district court. So our hope is that this can get moved onto the action agenda so that we can get a new contract signed and stop paying for the 7 guaranteed beds and just pay for the people that we actually book into jail.
All right. Any public comment, Donna?
No, we don't.
And do we have a motion?
I move to forward the Mason County Jail contract to the council meeting on January 17th for further consideration. Second.
Comments or questions?
You mentioned C, what is that?
So A and B felonies are going to be your very serious violent crimes against people. A lot of your C felonies are going to be lesser assault, burglaries, anything that's a large amount that's a property crime would be your C felonies. So up until recently, they were only taking A and B felonies at Mason County Jail. They've opened that up a little bit since probably November-ish, but a lot of the booking restrictions are still in place.
Thank you.
Any more comments or questions?
Are we capped at 7 or can we go above 7?
If we're doing a per diem contract, as long as they have space available, we should be able to book anyone in as long as they meet those booking restrictions. The only thing that they're promising is that if it's a mandatory arrest, so that would be anything that's a DUI, domestic violence, or of course, A and B felonies, they're going to take those at however many that we have in there.
We have more flexibility.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if we don't, they don't take them, we have our wonderful Nisqually contract.
Yes, we do.
All right.
I had 2 things about the Nisqually. Do we have a cap with Nisqually?
No, sir.
And then what are the challenges of getting people to Nisqually?
Right now, our biggest challenge happens to be staffing. Our minimum staffing on both watches is 2 people. A trip out to Nisqually is going to take about 45 minutes each way. So the only way we'll be able to make those discretionary arrests out to Nisqually is if we're fully staffed, which means there are 3 people. So 1 person can do that. But we're looking at some contingencies because right now we're down 2 people. I have 2 that are out on injury. Another that's about to go out for surgery. So we're looking at potentially having a list of people on overtime that would be willing to come in simply to do those transports as needed so that we can hold more of the folks accountable moving forward. So that's our short-term plan, is to have to do that.
And would that be considered light duty possibly?
No, it has to be a full duty person because there's a possibility that someone that's in custody could be a danger to the officers while they're driving.
Just know L&I gets light duty benefits, so.
Yeah, not for that one.
So, yes.
Can I ask?
Yes.
I forgot what I was gonna ask you. Do we have some reserve police officers, don't we, that were?
We have 1 at the moment. That some of the new laws that went into effect make it really difficult to have reserve police officers because the standards were changed with the new laws last year. So getting new ones would require academies, and right now, none of the agencies close by are having one. So if I find one that is having one, we'd probably put out applications and see if we could get some more reserves. But right now, we just have 1.
Yeah. And Mr. Mayor, if I may, just overall, we were paying a flat rate to Mason County for beds that we often could not use. with the Nisqually contract and with this new per diem contract, we still won't be able to hold many people in Mason County Jail accountable for less than a B felony, which is, as Chief Beeson mentioned, the crimes against people. So there's just not space available there. But with Nisqually, we do have that space available even for lesser C felonies or misdemeanors for that matter. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how often we can transport. Added costs, of course, but we think it's important, and council thought it was important enough when we passed the 2023 budget with the use of general fund reserves to do that. So we will find a way to make that work.
Have we used Nisqually yet?
Yes, I was hoping I'd get a chance to tell you. So we got off to a little bit of a slow start because there was some questions as far as how the court was going to work. And last week we had someone that was causing a disturbance up at the Fred Meyer. It was a person that's very well known to my folks. He vandalized a car. He ran from the officers when they got there. They ultimately ended up getting him into custody. He had 2 municipal court warrants for his arrest and 4 district court warrants for his arrest, but none of them met the booking restrictions at Mason County Jail. As they were taking that person into custody, dispatch got on the air and told us that Mason County Jail was not going to hold this person. And the sergeant on scene said, "That's okay, we're going to take him out to Nisqually." And that person yelled and screamed the whole time saying, "Wait, I never get arrested. You can't take me to jail." But he did in fact go to jail, and he went to Nisqually, and everything went fine the next day doing the arraignment on the Zoom video court.
Sounds like we're well on our way of holding people accountable, criminals accountable.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Chief, for all the
I
hard
think
work.
it's going to be very optimistic for us moving forward.
Been a long time in the making. All right, any other comments or questions, for Chief? All right,
Thank you.
we have a motion and a second to forward the Mason County Jail contract to the council meeting on January 17th for further consideration. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Public Works Director Jay Harrison, information forwards about some property acquisitions.
Good evening, council. Happy 2023. Jay Harris, your Public Works Director. So wastewater property treatment in 2019, Gray and Osborne started working on the update to the 2013 Sewer Comprehensive Plan. That plan, the update includes a $9.2 million sewer lift station and a pipe that takes the northwest part of the city and takes out wastewater and pumps it up to the membrane treatment plant at Sanderson Field. And so to capture that wastewater, there's very specific sites closer. It has to be up on the hill a little bit, but as far as we can this way, to send the water, and we call it the North Diversion Station, to the plant, the membrane plant up there. We found that the Devon property is probably the best situated to build this future lift station and pressure line to the plant. And so you also have to upgrade the plant though too, which we're working on. We're working on some state funding and that sort of thing to upsize the plants. Obviously, if you send more water, you gotta upsize the plant also. The thing about sending more water up there, less goes into Oakland Bay through our existing conventional wastewater plant. We're able to send more water into the Goldsboro Creek aquifer. And then we're also able to have storage. We're proposing a 500,000 gallon tank up there so we can reclaim and keep reusing the water. So rather than the current model where we're pumping out of the wells, the user takes it and uses it, goes down to the main plant, goes out to the bay. We want to capture a large part of that water and keep running it through the reuse process. Whatever doesn't get reused goes back into the ground, recharges Goldsboro Creek, and helps the fish during the summer, especially the low flows. The property purchase, there's a cell tower on 2 parcels of that site. There's a 99-year lease through a cell provider for an easement on those parcels. The lease payments were prepaid, so the city isn't going to get any revenue from that, but that comes along with the property purchase. We hired GPA Evaluation to do an appraisal in the fall of 21. They appraised it at $405,000. I met with council last spring, went over a lot of this with you in February. The purchase price is still at $405,000. We have a signed purchase and sale agreement for the properties. And we've allocated $410,000 of wastewater funds. In last summer's supplemental budget, we moved some money around and got that money in place. Staff recommends moving forward with the property purchase.
Donna, anyone sign up for comment?
No, we don't, Mr. Mayor.
And do we have a motion?
I move to place resolution number 1259-122 on the January 17th action agenda.
Second.
All right, comments or questions?
Question for you.
Yes.
What's the plan once we take ownership of the property for, I'm assuming it's gonna be a little while before we can do the capital improvement for the sewage treatment plant, but controlling and maintaining that site, how is that gonna work?
Yeah, currently the site has a cell tower site and a small building. It's likely we'll probably remove the small building because it's not much use for us in the future. And it's located right where the future lift station would be. Probably clean the site up and just keep it regularly mowed, more than it's getting right now.
Appreciate it. That was
Yeah.
that was the question and where I was going with it. So thank you.
Any more comments or questions? We have a motion and a second to place resolution number 1259-1222 on the action agenda for January 17th. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right. Ken's back up again. Ken has information for us about a grant acceptance for well one rehab.
Good evening, council. Good to see you again. I presented this project to you way back last year and haven't changed it much. This project replaces a gravity water line that goes from Shilton Springs down to the high school tank. So it is a crucial investment in your water system. So it's funded by the state coronavirus fiscal recovery funds through the Federal American Rescue Plan Act. And a big thank you to Mary, who put this plan into action, the application about a year ago. So I haven't changed anything from what I presented to you last year, but I recommend that you approve it so that we can use these funds to construct that project.
All right, any public comment, Donna?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right. May we have a reading of resolution number 1250-1222? I'm
Res-
sorry, 1249-1222.
Okay.
1122, excuse me.
Can you read that again, Mr. Mayor, just for clarity?
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 1249-1122 as presented.
Are you ready for a reading, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 1249-1122. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, accepting a direct appropriation grant for the Well One Rehabilitation Project and authorizing the city manager to sign the capital agreement with the Department of Commerce.
Right. Now, do we have a motion?
Move to approve resolution number 1249-1122 as presented.
Second.
All right, comments or questions?
I can't remember the amount of that.
The grant amount is $2
Yes.
million.
Okay.
We have a motion, the second to approve resolution number 1249-1122 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, Ken has more information for us about the well one rehab.
Same project. This is the design engineer to finish the design and get us out to bid. So they've been working on this since before I started in 2008. So thank you, Max, for putting that up there. But it's basically making that blue line on that map a pressurized water main. This amount is for an additional $77,000 and it's paid for entirely by the grant. So I don't have any other questions or comments, and I haven't changed anything since I presented to you last year.
Any public comment, Donna?
No.
Maybe a reading of resolution number 1250-1122.
Resolution number 1250-1222. A resolution of the council of the city of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to approve contract amendment number 3 to the professional service agreement with Gray and Osborne Incorporated titled Well One Rehab Project Design Services.
Did you say 1122?
1250-1222.
Mine doesn't say that.
It does on the resolution, the briefing sheet is off by 1 digit.
Okay.
All right. So what is it?
Resolution number 1250-1222.
All right.
It's like we're programmers. We're dealing with ones and zeros.
Mine actually, it is wrong. It wasn't me
Yeah.
this time.
Yep.
All right. So
It's me.
did we get a motion?
Move to approve resolution number 1250-1222 as presented.
Second.
All right. Comments or questions? We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 1250-1222. As presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Ken has information for us about a DOC grant.
Same pot of funding, same grant amount, different project. So it's to turn that green dot in there into a 500,000 gallon reclaim tank. And this again, submitted by Mayor Ricker. This is again, coronavirus funding. This allows Jeff to sign that agreement and make that money real. So as I'm standing up here, I'm grateful for Director Harris. And one of the reasons why I'm grateful is that I'm not the only engineer in Shelton presenting you sewer projects anymore. So anyway, I recommend that you move this one forward and we go out and construct that tank and provide some reserve for our other our users.
All right. Any public comment, Donna?
No, there isn't, Mr. Mayor.
We have a reading of resolution number 1251-1122.
Resolution number 1251-1122. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, accepting a direct appropriation grant for the satellite wastewater treatment plant reclaim tank project and authorizing the city manager to sign the capital agreement with the Department of Commerce.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 1251-1222 as presented.
All right, comments or questions?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Who was the second on that?
I'll take the second, Donna.
Thank you.
Comment. This is another ARPA project, so thank you, ARPA.
Correct.
That's all.
All right. We have a motion, a second to approve resolution number 1251-1122 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Our last action item is contract amendment for the reclaimed tank design. Ken has details.
This is also associated with the reclaim tank. This is a contract for Gray and Osborne to finish the design and get us out to bid so we can go construct it. A big thank you to the Squaxin tribe for providing some seed money to get that process started before we got our grant. This amendment is for $138,200 paid for by the grant. I recommend that you approve it so we can get that process started.
Thank you. Any public comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
May we have a reading of resolution number 1252-1122.
Resolution number 1252-1122. A resolution of the council of the city of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to approve contract amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement with Gray and Osborne Incorporated for the design of the satellite wastewater treatment plant reclaim tank.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve resolution number 1252-1122 as presented.
Comments or questions?
Second.
Oh,
Thank
comments or
you.
questions?
Another ARPA project,
Correct.
so thanks somebody again. The state and the government for providing us this opportunity to bring the money locally. And you, of course, for doing all the details and all the hard work. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 1252-1122 as presented. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, we're at Jeff. Will you give us a city manager report?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and members of council. A couple things I wanted to mention. First, I have it written down as snow response, but it wasn't really that. It was ice response over the holiday. Our crews did a fantastic job dealing with that weather, that storm event. It was about the worst ice I've seen in many years. And they did a great job. I heard nothing but compliments from the community, and that's great to hear. And I'm very appreciative of the work that they did. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or 7 days a week, but during that storm, that was quite an effort, and I really appreciate it, and I'm sure the council does as well. Next thing I wanted to mention was the council assignments for 2023. We are in our first meeting of 2023. So I sent this out to council, asked if there were any changes that any council members would like to see, and there weren't. So we will keep the council assignments the same in 2023 as they were in 2022. I'll send this out again just so you all have the contact information for your committee assignments and the times and dates when those groups meet. Let's see here, Financial Sustainability Task Force. So we've talked about this. We solicited requests for people that were interested in volunteering for the community and taking a look at our financial sustainability for 2024 and going forward. We've got a very good response. I was very happy to see it. Director Mike Givens and I, Finance Director, are going to sit down tomorrow and finalize that group. And we'll make that announcement probably Thursday, but maybe Friday morning, depending on how things go. But we'll make that announcement at that time and then get that group started. This morning, we had a exit conference with the State Auditor's Office and going over both financial and accountability audits for the years 2020 and 2021. Very happy to report that we had exceptional audits for both our finances and our accountability, following policies, following state law, that type of thing. It is a draft report at the moment, but it should be finalized early next week if anybody's interested in taking a look at that. And we'll share that link as soon as that report's finalized. But SAO, the State Auditor's Office, doesn't expect any changes to that report. Very happy to see a outside unbiased opinion of the work that we're doing and how we're doing it right. So that was great to hear today.
And since the audit was so easy for the state, our costs were even lower for this audit.
Yes, big thanks go to our finance department, especially Director Givens and Terry Snitzer, who did an amazing amount of work to get that done. A 2-year audit is a sign that the state trusts how we're handling things, but it does not make it easy on our team here to gather all that information. State Auditor's Office was very complimentary of Terry and the work that she did providing information to them, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody does, and she's earned a little bit of a vacation to get that stuff done. So very pleased with that. On your looking ahead, next Tuesday, your study session will be on the council protocol manual. I have had a couple of suggestions from various council members about what to change, so I'll bring those suggestions to council and we can discuss those. And we'll also talk about any others that might come up at the time, any changes to the overall manual, what you'd like to see or not see. But we'll have a discussion about that and get that implemented at your next regular business meeting on the 17th. Another full agenda. This was a very full one for the first weekend in January, or first Tuesday in January. But the 17th looks like at this point it's shaping up to be just as full. You'll hear all of the same things you did tonight, along with hopefully, fingers crossed, a contract for the designated crisis responder with Olympic Health and Recovery Services that we received funding for through the Association of Washington Cities as part of their alternative response team grant. So very happy to be bringing that to you and getting that project implemented. That was part of the homeless task force recommendations, and we're getting that going fairly quickly. That's about it. The only other thing I wanted to mention is on the 24th, we'll be talking about at your study session, we'll be talking about fleet management, how we're going to do that, whether we go with an outside vendor. You all saw the presentation last year from the FCS group about the initial startup costs for our own ERP program. Or I'm sorry, ER&R program. Kind of shocking. So we're looking at other ways to do it to get the most bang for our buck, but maintain our fleet in a way that particularly our police fleet in a way that addresses public safety and make sure our officers have the best equipment. And that's all I have. I am happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I just want to thank you for hiring all-star staffing to get us through all of our challenges we've had the last several years. I believe this is the third audit in a row with no findings.
Yep.
And that's pretty good, pretty darn good. And thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, I wanted to commend you and your staff. And I want to commend you for your leadership and motivating us staff, keeping us almost at capacity with hiring in a really difficult time.
Yeah.
And making Shelton a great place to work and a great place to live. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think you deserve every single 2% of what we approve. So I just want to appreciate you during this holiday season. I know it's over, but you deserve it and your staff deserves it. Please let them know.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I certainly will.
Any other comments, questions? Council have any new items for discussion?